What's up? It's Cautious Clay, and this is Records in My Life.
If we just spoke, like we meant to, would you reference this open part of me? The minute I know the time is meant.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Totally.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Good sold out show tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here in Vancouver.
First of all, tell us about the new record. And
So it's called Table of Context. I'm actually deciding whether it's going to be 4 or 5 to 6 songs, but it's really just kind of like exploring a lot of the things that I did on Bloodtype, and then like a little bit on Resonance, which is like a little bit of a shorter record, and kind of just compiling it into just some new ideas. Yeah.
And you had a couple of collaborators. You were out with a couple of people on that record, if I'm right.
Yeah, totally. Some production collabs with Hudson Mohawk, and also I did a little bit of writing with Tobias Jesso Jr., who's actually from around here in Vancouver. So yeah, it's pretty fun. Like there'll definitely be an interesting evolution into like some stuff I'm working on.
And this John Mayer, we're on the John Mayer. Sorry, he's on the record too, right?
Yeah, he's on a song that'll be part of that project.
How'd you guys get together?
So Instagram, like he just hit me up one day. Apparently, a friend of his went to my LA show back in the summertime, and he like filmed it, and like he just must have dug into my catalog and was just like, he just really was into it, and he just reached out, and then from there we just connected in person, and then that's where we made the song.
Great story.
Yeah, it was literally like that easy. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it was literally like, he's
did
like,
you think somebody was messing with you?
I thought it was fake when I first saw it.
Really?
I totally thought it was fake. I was like, is this really him? You know? But like, he's like, yeah, he's a very genuine dude. So we connected pretty fast in a very artistic way. Like we have a very similar kind of way about like writing even.
Right.
So it was like a very like not forced kind of interaction, which was fun.
Did he show you any cool guitar? Like he's like a master.
Yeah, I don't even act like I do that because I don't. I'm not a guitar player. I mean, I am a guitar player, but I'm not a. I'm a much more of an arranger, producer, writer because I understand that mentality. But he was like, yeah. I mean, I'm never gonna like pick up a guitar around him and try to show him anything. But
no, but did he like? Because he's a school
he's an
guy,
absolute
right?
virtuoso. Yeah, he has a style that is very unrivaled. So it's really fun that like he was just showing me all of these like different ideas that he was working on, and like it was just cool because that's the cool part, because he wasn't even like, he can do that, but like he's much more, you know, as a writer and producer as well. So it was fun to just like be on that level together without it feeling like, oh, like I got these tricks and things. He's a very like humble dude.
And let's go back now a little in time to your youth. What album would you say inspired you to start writing, producing, really grabbed you?
Speakerboxxx and Love Below by Outkast. That was such a pivotal project for me as a creative. I was just like, I just really listened to that so often and was just kind of like, man, I really want to do something like that, you know? That, and then also just like as an idea, Pharrell Williams was like one of my biggest inspirations for sure growing up.
So was there a time when you were listening to that, and was there a one moment when you thought, this is what I want to do, like I want to play arrange?
It was never a time, honestly. It was so funny. It was very like gradual, because I'd always like want to do it, but then there's no one in my family that I knew personally. Like I had an uncle who actually lives in the Bay Area right now, who's a bass player, but he's like the only person who I'd even known who did music. So it was just kind of like, I didn't have like that concrete connection to anyone. So it was hard for me to really accept that I wanted to do it, even though deep down, like I always knew, like I definitely always had this, just like music just came so easily, you know? So, but it was hard for me to accept because both my parents were like not in music. So
were they expecting you to go into another field, or did they encourage
fully
you? Fully
expected me to do something else. But like my mom was never discouraging, and my dad neither was, but they just didn't know. So like, I was doing music since I was young, but it was always kind of like this hobby that like, yeah, like it kind of just morphed into something after, because I've always been obsessed with it. So like, it almost just kind of happened, you know, in a way, because it was like, well, there's nothing else I could do. Like, you know, like some people try to ignore the things they like because they need to make money, and
right.
And I mean, I certainly did that. So, but like, I just couldn't. I either got fired or I was like didn't like it enough. So it was just never really. Yeah.
And you're following your passion, which is obviously you found that, which is the most important thing in life.
Right.
So which record would you consider? I mean, maybe the one that aside from the one that inspired you, which record would you consider a masterpiece or a flawless record?
Oof, man. There's a couple. I really like, for jazz albums, it's always going to be Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. That's just, to me, is really, I just like love that. You can just kind of play it front to back. I really, really liked, what's the one? Mama's Gun by Erykah Badu.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a really classic one for me, too.
She's
just
got
like
a
has
hell
a
of
mood.
What a setup! What a singer! I was
know.
lucky to see her once.
Oh, wow.
In Texas, yeah.
Yeah, she's so good. She's so good live too.
My nephew Zach is recently single, long-term relationship. He's like 22. So what's a good record? Because he's just going to start dating again. What's a really good record to like a classy?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you like from today, you could probably put on "Something to Feel" by Mac Ayers. That's a good record for sure. To like, you know, set the mood for sure. Yeah, I've actually forgot about that one, but that's a good one.
Is that the one?
That's the one. Yeah, we'll go with that one.
You know, you're into producing and arranging. If you could go back in time to the studio, what album would you witness?
Oh, that's so much easier to me. So there's another producer. His name's Pop Wansel. Oh no, sorry. His name is Dexter Wansel. His son is Pop Wansel. He's a producer today. But Dexter Wansel was like pretty much like the Philly sound. Like he was very much like the Quincy Jones of Philadelphia sort of thing, and he produced for a lot of like the Jacksons and stuff. But his record, I think it was called Something to Space. I can't remember, but he has a record that's just like, it sounds like I've never, like, just like the perfect production. Like drums are just like funky, but then like it's a jazz record, and it just has a sound to it that like is just very, very orchestral, but also percussive. So that would definitely be like my top pick. Something by Dexter Wansel.
That's why I love talking to musicians about albums, because I learn the joy of discovering new music is, I mean, it's pretty much everything. Well, to some people.
Oh yeah, it's. I mean, whenever I find something that I'm like genuinely like into or impressed by, it's like such a great feeling. Yeah.
And the last question, thanks for being a sport and being on the show.
Totally.
Is there a record you'd like to hear live in its entirety?
Yeah. Oh wow. I mean, this is probably the most embarrassing. Actually,
there's no embarrassing records.
No, there's no embarrassing records actually. But you might say otherwise. But it would be really crazy to hear Creed's "Human Clay" live, just because like I listened to that a lot as a kid, and it'd just be really, really funny because I heard a lot of those records and like know a lot of those records. But it'd be, oh fuck, I'm remembering all of these now. But like Moby's 18 as well. Right. It's a huge record for me.
That Creed record is. It's funny how. I mean, I'm going to sound a little off, but it's like nobody admits to buying. That was one of the biggest selling records came out in the early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Yeah. So that was probably the biggest selling rock record and the backlash was spectacular.
Yeah.
Like probably worse. I don't know. Was Nickelback? Did Nickelback have a worse backlash?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Creed is in the same lane as Nickelback. You know what I mean, for that type of sound. But like for some reason, it just like. I really connected with it when I was like, 8 or 9. So it was like,
Well, thanks for being on the show. And we like to ask all our guests for some words of wisdom or advice.
Okay. My words of wisdom would be, if you're creative, compartmentalize your creativity.
It's a good one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe.
And if you're really feeling it, please hit us up on Patreon. Cheers.